Welcome to Safe Sanctuaries training, where you will learn about the policies and procedures for the prevention of abuse. These policies are more than a set of standards and minimum requirements. It is meant to be a tool for the local church to encourage an environment of nurturing Christian discipleship. In this training, you'll learn about the history of safe sanctuaries, the need for policies, types of abuse, who are the abusers and the victims, how to report abuse, and conference-specific policies. Let's begin with Scripture, Matthew 18, verse 5 and 6. And whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me. If anyone causes one of these little ones, those who believe in me, to stumble, it would be better for them to have a large millstone hung around their neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. Mark 9:36 and 37. He took a little child, whom he placed among them. Taking the child in his arms, he said to them, Whoever welcomes one of these little children in my name welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me does not welcome me, but the one who sent me. Safe Sanctuaries has been the official policy of the United Methodist Church since the 1996 General Conference. The goal is to reduce the risk of abuse to children, youth, and vulnerable adults. Why do all churches need a policy? Because our mission is to minister to all people. We have countless contact with children, youth, and vulnerable adults, both members, people we know and trust, and visitors of all ages. How do we define children and youth? This is how the conference defines children and youth. Children are persons from birth through age 12. Youth are persons from age 13 through 18. Safe Sanctuaries policies also apply to adults who are mentally or physically disabled and are not capable to protect themselves. Another benefit of our Safe Sanctuaries policy is that it will protect our volunteers and staff from unfounded accusations. Does abuse really happen at the local church? Yes, it does. The media has reported incidents in other churches. The abuse of children, youth, and vulnerable adults, whenever it occurs, is the most underreported crime that exists. Abuse comes in many forms. We need to understand the types of abuse and neglect because not only do we want to recognize this behavior in our churches, but we also must report it if we witness it or detect signs of it. Physical abuse is deliberate or intentional bodily harm that is non-accidental. Victims of physical abuse may exhibit hostility and aggression towards others, destructive behavior to themselves, others, or property, unexplainable bruises or fractures, fearfulness of others, and burns, facial injuries, or head trauma. Sexual abuse is sexual contact between a child and adult, such as fondling, intercourse, incest, and pornographic exploitation or exposure. Signs of sexual abuse may be that the victim exhibits advanced sexual knowledge or behavior, depression, promiscuous behavior, difficulty sitting or walking, bruising, bleeding, frequent headaches, extreme fatigue, and sexually transmitted diseases. Emotional abuse is the infliction of mental anguish by threat, intimidation, or humiliation, spoken, unspoken violence, or emotional cruelty. Victims exhibit depression or withdrawal, lack of self-esteem, threats or attempts of suicide, speech or eating disorders, passive-aggressive behavior, and excessive seeking of adult approval. Neglect is characterized by the failure to meet a child's basic needs, leaving a child unattended, failing to provide medical attention, not providing adequate nourishment, and failing to furnish appropriate clothing and basic hygiene. Some common signs of abuse to be on the lookout for are unusual anxiety, reluctance to participate, not wanting to be alone, nightmares, and unexplained hostility. What percentage of abuse is committed by total strangers? Strangers only account for 3 to 4% of abusers. So who are the abusers? Usually, abusers are someone that is known and trusted by the family. In 3/4 of all abuse incidents, the victim is related to or acquainted to the abuser. Approximately 30% of the abusers were abused as children. Abusers are found in all segments of society and in every racial, ethnic, economic, and social group. They can be charismatic leaders who are sociable or very sympathetic to troubled children. In abuse situations, there are victims on all sides. The church's reputation is damaged, relationships in the church are fractured, and the abuser's family, the victim, and the victim's family all suffer irrevocable harm. A child, youth, or vulnerable adult is never responsible for the abuse, nor should the victim ever be blamed. They are not capable of giving consent, and there is no justification for harm. If you suspect any type of abuse, you should consult with the pastor or other authoritative staff member. If there is imminent danger, do not hesitate to call 911. You can also contact Child Protective Services, which is part of the North Carolina Department of Social Services. There is a link in the course description where you can locate your county's DSS information. All churches should have written Safe Sanctuaries policies. Policies should be printed and available at your church and posted on your church's website. All policies must be followed by staff and volunteers. Annual training and review of policies should be conducted. The 2-adult rule is a core principle regarding the supervision required for activities and overnight events. This means that 2 adults not related to each other should be utilized in all programming with children, youth, and vulnerable adults. Background checks must be conducted on anyone who will be serving with children, youth, or vulnerable adults. Rechecks should be conducted every 3 years. An authority figure is someone who is 21 years of age or older. Assistants should be no less than 12 years old and 4 years older than the oldest student in the group. Please download the Youth Events Safe Sanctuaries Procedures PDF from this course. This document covers staffing, housing, medical, security, conduct, supervision, travel, and reporting abuse for youth events. Safe Sanctuaries policies create an atmosphere in your church where everyone feels welcomed and safe. No congregation can afford to fail, ethically or financially, to implement strategies for the prevention of abuse to children, youth, and vulnerable adults within the life of the church.